Hello, and welcome to the forecast for May 5th until May 11th. My name is Desiree Delaunay, your acupuncturist, herbalist, and astrologer. And we're going to go into this week to show you that it's a little exciting and a little messy and a little roller coastery, and then we end with the free fall. So it's an internally eventful week. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and show you visually all that's going on. And if you can be so kind, please do like, subscribe, and share away to those who would also benefit from this information. Okay, I'm going to make this bigger for you. Okay, so we are going to begin with Monday. So on Monday, we have our sun still in Taurus. It's right in the middle. It's at 15 degrees. So we're at like the peak of Taurus season, which is lovely to have in the background. I mean, I am a Taurus sun, so, which it brings stability. That's nice, right? It brings some reliability. It's consistent. It's slow and steady. It takes its time and brings some pleasure and play into the mix as well. So nice combination of consistent hard work that's patient and resilient, but also knows how to relax and enjoy life at the same time. Really indulge in those comforts. So very nice to have in the background because we've got so many other things happening that at least we have some level of grounding force available to us. And it's unaspected, meaning there are no conversations that the sun is having. So sun is just chilling like a bull in Taurus, really calm right now, not activated, not fighting with anyone, not being irritated and annoyed by anyone. So that grounding presence is there amidst a lot of activity, okay? It's kind of like the calm in the storm. Now, we have Moon in Leo. It's in its last day in Leo. We've had it, the couple of days prior. And Leo is that fiery sign, and it is filled with joy and fun and expressive, maybe a little dramatic, but it's enjoying itself. It's having a great time, and it loves leisure, luxury, all those great things. I will say though, it is in square with Uranus, and with the square to Uranus, this can bring a little bit of restlessness and some unexpected events that we emotionally have to digest and deal with as well. It can also make us a bit rebellious and wanting to shake things up, even though we've got that grounded bull in the background. The moon, which is our emotions, is wanting some freedom, and it's wanting to break away from routine and wanting to experience some different. Uranus is going to be pretty strong this whole week. So I'm going to be coming back. You'll notice coming back to Uranus again and again and again as the sun gets closer to it, and all these other planets are going to start aspecting to it as well. Now, we got to talk about this Aries situation because we've had, Neptune that crossed over at the end of March. And then we had Venus cross over at the end of April on April 30th. Interesting. So March 30th was when Neptune crossed over, and Neptune is here a long, long time, the next 14 years. And then Venus crossed over on April 30th. Now, they are very close together. And when we kind of break this down, Venus is romance, it's pleasure, it rules Taurus actually. So you're going to actively, in this Aries sign, really actively pursue what is pleasure for you, what is play, all of your leisurely things. You're probably going to want things that are a little bit more exciting and adventurous and different. I mean, Aries is about new, it's pioneering. It needs to experience new and different. And then you have Neptune coloring Venus here with that Aries energy. And there's going to be a lot of passion and a lot of romance and a lot of actually idealistic romance. I could see flings happening for sure. Quick little fiery, very passionate flings. But this is definitely a time to, have some fun dates if you are in a relationship. Go out dating, go have a great time. Really indulge in your pleasures and embrace try different things, try exciting things, things that kind of like put you on edge too, because Aries is more risk taking. I mean, obviously be safe, but for example, maybe like have a date where you're going ziplining, where there's a little bit of adventure and a little risk involved too. Okay. And then we also have Mercury that is also in Aries, and that is coloring the way that we think. Our minds are probably running a bit more. Mind is moving faster and becoming a bit more decisive, sharp thinking, sharp intellect. It can definitely cause impulsivity too, like kind of jumping to conclusion. The mind is just rushing so fast into all kinds of conclusions. So do be cautious on that. Thankfully, though, we do have a beautiful sextile. See this blue line between Mercury at 22 degrees and Jupiter is at 22 degrees in Gemini. This is a great conversation that these two are happening, they are having. Sorry, I'm like tripping over my words. It's all this Aries energy. It's like things are moving so fast. My mouth can't speak as quickly as I'm thinking. So Mercury and Jupiter here, this brings a lot of positivity and a lot of optimism and feeling really joyful and hopeful and generous. And so more of a positive attitude, a very like can do attitude versus being, skeptical and pessimistic. So yeah, that's going to be really nice, especially if you've been kind of under this fog of, not feeling positive about the future. In this situation, it's going to be difficult to be so negative. is kind of the essence that I'm getting. So, we start off the week on Monday with a pretty good start. There's just a lot more boldness, a lot more courage, being more upfront, more direct too, because Aries does not beat around the bush. So our communication style is going to be very direct, straightforward, and positive at that, and uplifting and encouraging at that because of Jupiter's communication with Mercury. Okay, now here's another. Oh, by the way, that's going to be around till Tuesday. That Mercury Jupiter positive hopefulness attitude. And so that's till Tuesday. And actually, let's go on to Tuesday. We're finished with Monday info. Now, Tuesday, we have Sun in a slight trine to the moon. It's not crazy strong, but it's there. And that just brings a lot like of internal peace and harmony, like how you're thinking, how you're feeling. There's harmony there. There's congruence there. So you're going to feel pretty like confident and pretty centered in yourself, especially with with the sun being in Taurus. Now the moon is in Virgo though. And Virgo, it is an earth sign, but it's ruled by Mercury. So Virgo tends to also be a little bit restless, a little bit anxious, mainly because it's thinking a lot and it's worrying a lot about stuff. And so Virgo's super practical. It's like, hey, what do we need to get done? What practically needs to get finished? Virgo loves to check off a to-do list and making sure that that to-do list is actually in the order of priority, proper priority as well. So it is very, very focused on progress and improvement and getting things done, in improving routines too, and improving your health, really tending to your health. Like maybe this is a time where you're just going to want to eat a little bit more clean, or you're going to start exercising. So really like focus on your well-being as well as being helpful to others too. So it's an efficient sign. It cares to be efficient. It likes to optimize, period. And I help people discover their soul's natural design through astrology. To give an example, I have this client. Before her consultation, she felt very stuck and very unsure how to proceed forward with something. But after the consultation, she felt this light inside of her just reignite. So if you can't see your next steps clearly ahead of you, it's incredibly exhausting, it's draining, it's frustrating, and it makes it very hard to make decisions that are in alignment with your true essence. So in a 75-minute cosmic clarity consultation, I help to reveal these key indicators of your natural talents, your purpose, your advantages, your strengths, and putting that all together, you are going to have way more clarity moving forward. I have about 20 plus years of experience in elemental medicine. So the way that I interpret charts, it's very grounded and it's very practical in nature. So if you are ready to transform a confusion into clarity, go ahead and click the link down below to book your Cosmic Clarity consultation, where you get an in-depth reading all about you and how to move about in the world, as well as the recording that you can access for life. Mercury is sextile. We already talked about that. Mercury is still in sextile with Jupiter. That's today. Here's a new one to pay attention to. We have Saturn here at 28 degrees in Pisces. It is squaring Jupiter. And this aspect, it's only going to get stronger as the days continue forward. And it is going to end in July 9th. So we have this Saturn-Jupiter square conversation happening well into the summer, actually until we have Uranus going into Gemini on July 7th. So like right after that. Anyways, what I like about this, okay, there is a lot of idealism from all this Neptune, Venus, and Aries, right? There's a lot of idealism. There's a lot of like thinking of new and envisioning new and pursuing new in our lives, right? And our like reimagined identity, purpose. Like there's been a lot of reinvention of ourselves, right? And with that energy happening, you have Saturn kind of like bringing a lot of reality checks to Jupiter, because Jupiter can be a bit pie in the sky. It's talking to Mercury, remember? And Mercury's our thinking. It can be a little bit like pie in the sky and a little bit fantastical and idealistic and dreamy. And we want to make sure that there is that practicality baked into this as well, because we don't want our dreams to, die unrealized in this physical plane in this life. And so even though it's a pain in the ass, all right, I'm not going to lie. It's a pain in the ass. It can really test our ambitions. It can test our willpower. It can really test our dedication to our dreams and our visions, but it's there to develop this resilience, to develop this patience, and to really help us complete this thing, to really help us set in a structure and a plan to accomplish. And so it's going to bring in that perseverance. It's going to bring in moderation, like, okay, have the big dream, but we need to get it grounded. We need to break it down into, like bite-sized chunks to make sure that it gets completed. So I hope you are appreciating this. It's going to be around for a while. So I think it's nice to have, because we do have a lot of idealism, a lot of like lofty, ideas, and a lot of like hopefulness and optimistic, and which is so good and so important. But I got a lot of earth energy in me. So we need to make sure that it's grounded in reality too. I want it to be real for you. I want your dreams to come true. And so think of this as like the aspect that is making your dreams come true, and not just another like fairy tale pipe dreams situation. Okay? All right. So it's going to build a more solid foundation for your future growth. Now, that in addition to, we have Saturn in sextile Uranus. And I've talked about this before, because this is going to stay around again till September. I think it's September 9th, if I'm not mistaken. long time. And Uranus is breakthrough innovation. Uranus is like reinventing. It's the new, all right? It's very evolutionary. It is really upgrading our whole situation. It's upgrading our lives and our dreams and our systems and our processes. It's an upgrade. And then we have Saturn having a beautiful conversation with Uranus to make sure that we are truly, fully integrating these upgrades. We're not rejecting it. We're not resisting it. We're not resisting this next evolution of ourselves. We're not fighting it. We are not arguing with it. We are accepting it and receiving it and finding new routines, new habits, new disciplines, new structures to support this evolution. How fantastic is that? I mean, we are very, very lucky to be living in this time of great change. I know the news might not reflect it, but that information is oftentimes biased and colored with propaganda, right? But in reality, like, what is happening is such a shedding and a purge of the old that is outdated and irrelevant and doesn't work anymore. We need to elevate our operations. We need to elevate our conscientiousness and our consciousness. And there are far more intelligent people out there than what the news is trying to feed us. Okay, anyways, so moving on. We also have Moon in trine with Sun. We talked about that earlier. That presence is still there. It's light, but it's there, which is just really harmonious. Now on Wednesday, next day, there's a lot happening on Wednesday. Okay. This is where we start to get some friction, some intensity here. Now, Sun is now getting closer to Uranus, and it's going to exact like where Sun and Uranus meet at the same degree on May 18th. So we've got some time, it's not going to be for another 11 days, but every day Sun is getting closer and closer to Uranus, and it's going to get stronger. And this is going to bring in that whole, remember I talked about Uranus, it's sudden, unexpected change, sudden, unexpected insights. It's going to be very rebellious. It's going to be liberating. It's breaking free from the box. Uranus is it's explosive in its own right. Like it's like a lightning strike. You cannot put a lightning strike in a box, okay? It's not going to work. So it's very exhilarating too. It's very inspiring. So, and if you think about the sun is our identity. It's our purpose. It's our sense of purpose, right? It's a very meaningful luminary for us. And the fact that it is grounded in Taurus, it's stabilized in Taurus, and you have all this crazy change that is wanting to be birthed and change that wants to emerge, right? Revolutionize our identity, okay, our purpose, revolutionize our lives. Yet, kind of like how Uranus is talking to Saturn in that great way, we have that stabilizing energy, that consistent, resilient, persevering energy that's also present in the background. Okay, so lots of breakthroughs. I mean, honestly, this week is a lot about personal breakthroughs, a lot of aha revelations. So embrace that, recognize that, document that, acknowledge that, please. Now, Moon is also in square with Jupiter. This, we've got to be careful about becoming too overconfident and maybe even overextending and overdoing ourselves, because Moon loves to be helpful and service oriented in Virgo. Moon in Virgo likes to be that way, and it can be a bit of a workaholic as well, and a martyr. So we need to be careful not to overdo things, basically, not to overcommit. Okay. And deal with unrealistic expectations. Sometimes we have very, very high expectations and then get disappointed, and then we get irritable and moody, and so let's just get really grounded in our perspective, which that Saturn to Jupiter will provide that. Another challenge is the Moon opposite Saturn. All right, we actually have kind of a T square here between Jupiter, Saturn, and Moon. So let's just talk about Moon opposite Saturn. Saturn brings sometimes obstacles, challenges, struggles, but it also, in this opposition, can bring a lot of emotional resilience and maturity. So there's a lot of internal growth, emotional growth, okay, that you are going through. But it can lead to feeling a bit, lonely and isolated and just uncomfortable. You might feel definitely burdened by responsibilities and obligations. Your sun might want to relax and chill and play and do something fun and freeing, but your moon here in Virgo talking to Saturn, facing off like that, it's gonna want to take care of responsibilities. But this is also, okay, again, an opportunity when we have red lines. Those are growth opportunities. This can bring the art of discipline. It can bring forth also setting boundaries and not be that martyr, all right? Putting healthy boundaries down and also practicing patience. And that Saturn is going to ground that Jupiter. Okay. And same with, Moon, like talking to Jupiter in that way. I feel like Saturn is going to be our checks and balances here and give us our reality check so that we're not over dreaming and we're not over giving. We don't want to go in either direction. We also have Moon trine Uranus. So here's a nice conversation. There's this blue triangle between Moon and Uranus. And so can you see this like tug of war internally between like Moon needing to be disciplined and practical and responsible and take care of our obligations? You're going to have that sense. But then you have Moon with Uranus like, I want to be free from all the responsibility. I want to be free from this routine. I want to get out of my schedule and do something radically different. I need to get out of the house. Okay. So you're going to feel both of these maybe at the same time. So make room for both. Make room for both. You can break out of the structure too. And that's actually also, it could be like an evolution. We talked about, see, Uranus and Saturn, an evolution in your structure. Maybe you need to change your routine and change your structure, improve your structure as we're kind of tying all of this together. And that will satisfy everything. Okay, there we go. That's a great way to approach that. All right, let me see if I'm missing any others. Nope, that is our Wednesday. Let's continue on to Thursday. Thursday, I call it a tense and twisted moon day. Look at that moon. It's got all those oppositions, and then it's got the trine to Pluto, and it's changed into a new sign. So look, first of all, sun still in Taurus, obviously. It's inching its way to Uranus. So Uranus in our lives is just getting stronger and stronger and more potent as we build up until it actually moves into Gemini, which is a big deal on July 7th. We'll cross that road when we get there. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. But Moon has transitioned and it is in Libra. And Libra energy really loves peace. It likes peace. It likes harmony. It likes pleasure. It doesn't want to work hard. It wants to relax. It wants to play. Yet, with all these oppositions, the moon is not going to be able to fully chill out and calm down. Like the moon is going through the ringer on Thursday. Now, I just want you to, give yourself some space to have all the feels on Thursday. Oh, and wait till we get to Sunday. Thursday and Sunday are all the feels. Okay. So the funny thing is the moon, like, it doesn't want conflict. It doesn't like being confrontational. Moon in Libra. No. Yet it's confronting like head on, face to face with Saturn, Neptune, as well as Venus over here. So see up top here, see this red line? it's kind of fighting with these planets. So when we have moon opposite Venus, that means like sometimes our relationships and our social interactions could be riddled with some conflicts and disagreements. You might want to do one thing, but they want to do something else. And so there's a little bit of fighting. We got Aries energy, so that's coloring Venus. So yeah, a little bit of arguments and fighting, and maybe like you want to be close, but then you want to be free. It's just very conflicted inside about how you feel about the people in your life, whether it's, friends, family, or your partner. And then we have moon opposite Neptune, which is also close to Venus. This can bring a lot of confusion, a lot of cloudiness, and even confused about how you feel, which makes sense considering everything that's going on. So look, don't make decisions on this day. Don't like decide how you feel permanently about something or someone or some situation or circumstance. You're going to lack clarity on this day. So let's hold off and pause that for another day. This can ignite some creativity, like with the Venus and the Neptune talking to the moon. It can spur you into some like creative spurt or get an idea for sure. It could absolutely do that too. It could kick up some passion. It can make you really artistic. Like it can do that too. It can make it very heated and passionate in relationships as well. Yes, that potential is there. And then you have Saturn in opposition, which this can further make you feel like very responsible, but the responsibility feeling restrictive and burdensome. It can bring that. It can bring sense of loneliness, isolation, feeling really insecure, having a lot of self-doubt as well. And it can also make you resilient and confront your fears and like face your fears, establish boundaries, or breaking of boundaries could happen too. The thing is, when we have these oppositions, it's very similar to a conjunction, like when they're next to each other. So you can have either or both of a positive expression as well as a challenging expression. So it's kind of like a box of chocolates. We don't know what we're going to get, either the positive expression or the difficult expression. And also it depends on, how does Saturn behave in your chart, right? So there's that layer and that component to consider too. Okay, so those are the oppositions. We do have a trine, though, to Pluto, which is a positive conversation. And this is very empowering emotionally. Pluto deals with, the hidden. So when there's a great conversation with Pluto, it brings like our hidden fears to the surface. It brings our hidden shadows to the surface. And so it can bring a profound self-understanding as well as confrontation of our shadow side, and really like touching our wounds and our pains and our fears, and then which can then further lead to this transformative like healing experience and provide this strength and renewal too. So it could be that all the conflict that the moon is experiencing between Venus, Neptune, and Saturn, right? That is being transformed, and it is getting healed with the power of Pluto by its side here. So, look, I'm not claiming this is going to be a fun day. By no means. This could be a very internally and, with relationships too, like a very challenging, difficult day, and having to work through a variety of things that are challenging personally. So, the sun is unaspected too. Like the sun is just again chilling by itself. It's very Taurus all the way through and through. There's no other flavors adding to it. So thankfully, we kind of have this in the background of this grounded, stable Earth energy amidst us going through all this possible inner turmoil and upheaval, and things are just churning inside of us. So At least you have that nurturing, mothering, grounded energy from Taurus available to you. Okay, so that's Thursday. Let's continue on to Friday. Mercury is squaring off with Pluto. So we've got Mercury right here. It's a slight square. See how it's faint, but it's still there, and it's going to get stronger as the days move forward, as Mercury moves into Taurus. And here, this can bring very like intense thoughts, maybe even very investigative, like you're wanting to go down a bit deeper. Because, see, Mercury in Aries is just very active and tends to just touch a lot of things maybe on the surface, but then with Pluto talking to it, we're going to want to probe even more. And so our thoughts are going to be more serious in nature. Yeah, very serious. Conversations can be more serious, maybe even more challenging conversations where you're being confrontational or someone else is being confrontational with you. You might have to have some of those crucial, difficult conversations on Friday. But it can also, again, lead to breakthroughs within a relationship or within the conversation. But Mercury with Pluto, it's honest, and Mercury's in Aries, so honesty is going to be really, really big. Like being honest with yourself, being honest with a friend or a partner or a family member, like just basically deep thinking, critical analysis, really digging down to, what is the root cause of our conflict or of our problem. It can be very very direct in wanting to problem solve something or problem solve an issue within a relationship. So there is that beautiful thing that comes out at the end of that. Okay, now Saturday. Saturday, we have Moon still in Libra. It is in opposition to Mercury. So now it's facing off with Mercury, which then can pose some challenges in the conversation. Like now, however, look, Mercury has changed. It is now in Taurus, and now you're seeing three planets. You're starting to see the stellium here in Taurus, which we're going to have for a little bit, at least for the next 10 days. And my question to you is, where is Taurus in your chart? What house? What number is Taurus over? Please make sure to do whole sign houses. And I have a link down below that shows you how to look up your birth chart in whole sign houses, by the way. But the Taurus sector of your chart, just like we had the new moon last week in this, it is being lit up, and it is getting the sun. It's getting a lot of attention. Okay, a lot of light from the sun. It's getting a lot of breakthrough change from Uranus, and innovation and new. And then you have Mercury now, which is the planet of communication, speaking, writing. So writing on the topics of whatever house Taurus is would be a great thing for you to do. But with Mercury there, it's like you have more access. You have more like mental access to that information. Mercury is the messenger. And so when we need to receive messages, when we need to receive information, Mercury is the one that's going to get us there. Now, with it in a challenging conversation with the moon, this can create some misunderstanding. Maybe you're not fully getting it. It's fine. It's going to leave tomorrow, so don't worry too much. But I also find with Mercury opposite moon, that's kind of also a hard day to be super decisive. Okay. Plus, Mercury just moved into Taurus. Give it a little time to marinate in Taurus before you make any major decisions. All right. So another thing too for the moon, it's faint, but it's there. But it will start, as the hours pass. You're going to feel this more and more throughout the day. But moon is in square with Pluto on Saturday. And that can be a bitch, okay? Whenever moon is in a hard aspect with Pluto, that's like dark night of the soul stuff. That is emotional upheaval. And then like the way you're thinking and the way that you're feeling is all just jumbled up with this opposition. So it's not a day of great clarity. It's a day to move through the mess. And same with Sunday. So it's like this end of this week is just a little rough. So lots of mood swings, a lot of just internal conflicts, a lot of intense emotions that are very overwhelming to deal with. I would move your body, move your body. That might help with, releasing some of that intensity. So it's a growth time. It's an internal growing time. Okay. Sunday, super emotional. I am not looking forward to Sunday. I am scared of Sunday personally, mainly because whenever moon's in Scorpio is not a fun time for me. This is why I say it's good to track your moon, because I have rough planets in Scorpio, and moon in Scorpio just makes it worse in my situation. So, keep track of like how you feel when moon is in this sign. It's really, really revealing because you might notice a pattern. Yeah, of course, it's going to be different from month to month because you have different planets that are talking to the moon, but then you have that baseline flavor. So I have a baseline flavor when moon is in Scorpio. So moon is in Scorpio, but it has some rough aspects, like really, really rough. We've got moon that is square with Pluto, and it's also square with Mars. Is Pluto and Mars in a square, not in a happy conversation? This is, oh my gosh, power struggles. This is strife. This is conflict. This is aggressive. This is angry. This is controlling. This is obsessive. Like, this is so much, like all the things that you wanted to bury or didn't want to touch or see, guess what? It's getting blasted up to the surface, and you're going to have to face all of your fears, and all the inner turmoil is just really, really up. Like it's a shitstorm. It's a shitstorm internally. So I would be careful what you schedule for Sunday. I would make sure that it is not something where you got to be up on stage and performing. No, I would leave some room for whatever comes through on this day. Very, very emotional. It's also, is it opposite Mercury? No, it's not. It's not. I thank God. At least we don't have that opposite Mercury situation. But it can also give birth to some like deep, something very deep, like really, some kind of revelation can come through this, a very powerful spiritual healing moment. When you do certain plant medicines like ayahuasca, that is, I've never done it, but I imagine that it isn't fun per se all the time. Like I've heard a lot of difficulties around that, and I feel like it's similar. It's a similar kind of medicine that we're getting on Sunday. You'll end up learning something very important, or grow through something, or transform through something on the other end of Sunday. But yeah, this is cathartic. This is purgative. I mean, this is wounds open, raw, and having to address and deal with. So, and then look, Sun is getting closer to Uranus, which creates more possibly chaos and disruption. And so it's just not going to be a super fun day, possibly. If you have a great day, please let me know. Please let me know. I'd like to know. All right, so that's our forecast for this week. Thank you so much for joining me. And please do like, subscribe, and share away. And we will see you in next week's forecast. Bye-bye. Are confusion and self-doubt clouding your path forward? When we can't see our next steps ahead of us, this creates incredible amounts of stagnation, and we struggle with making decisions that are in alignment with our true nature. And when there is all of this uncertainty, it is very draining of our energy and really dims our light. And this is where the wisdom of the natal chart comes in. When you are in a cosmic clarity consultation, we decode your natural energy signatures, your innate talents, your soul's purpose, your advantages, your strengths. And I have 20 plus years of experience in elemental medicine. So my approach to this is very grounded, very practical, and tangible. You'll walk away with knowing what to do. Now, when you book a cosmic clarity consultation, you get your natal chart, you get the recording, as well as timestamps for key insights that you might want to revisit. So don't let confusion hold you back. There's a link down below. Book that 75-minute cosmic clarity and discover the clarity that you have been searching for.